the winner of the $1 million and the star of the headline show in Las Vegas is Darci Lynne!
Imagine this. Simon Cowell, the man who made a name for himself as the most stern judge in the industry, suddenly stops talking. His voice breaks, his eyes well up with tears. He acknowledges something he seldom ever speaks aloud, that a rising star was let down by the industry. Not just any star either. Lynne Darci. She had a pink puppet on her arm when she entered the America's Got Talent stage at the age of 12. The audience assumed they were going to witness an adorable child perform. However, magic occurred when she opened her mouth. She did more than just perform as a ventriloquist. She was more than just a vocalist. She was a sensation. Everyone, including Simon, thought Darci Lynne was headed for worldwide fame as she became the youngest champion in AGT history overnight. But being famous isn't always a dream come true. A young girl attempting to juggle family, school, and the overwhelming burden of being America's darling was behind the confetti and acclaim. Even Simon Cowell was moved to tears by what transpired in the years after AGT. What actually transpired with Darci Lynne then? Now, where is she? And why does Simon still speak so passionately about her? We explore her ascent, challenges, and surprising path today. On October 12, 2004, Darci Lynne Farmer was born in Oklahoma City. Darci's childhood was peaceful, uncomplicated, and centered on family, in contrast to many child stars who grow up pursuing Hollywood. She was reared by her parents, Clark and Misty, who never anticipated success but always supported creativity. She was one of 4 children. Even as a young child, Darci's timidity was what set her apart. The type of girl who found it difficult to speak up in class or perform in front of others, she was excruciatingly shy. Her mother was concerned that her shyness might prevent her from succeeding in life. However, Darci's discovery of ventriloquism was a surprise. She first became interested in the art form after seeing a local ventriloquist perform. She was already humming tunes and experimenting with her voice while singing at home about the same period. It changed my life to combine those 2 hobbies. Her parents gave her her first puppet after observing how ventriloquism boosted her self-esteem. Before long, Darci was playing at church functions, local fairs, and small competitions, in addition to honing her skills in her room. Her theatrical presence came naturally to her, and she let her talent shine while hiding behind her puppets. Word of this young girl's exceptional talent spread throughout her town after she won Oklahoma's Got Talent by the time she was 10 years old. Nobody realized at the time that one of the largest stages in the world was going to collide with Darci's humble beginnings as a little village. June of 2017. The floor is covered with deep shadows from the America's Got Talent stage lights. When Tyra Banks announces the next competitor, a timid 12-year-old girl holding a puppet emerges. What's her name? Farmer Darci Lynne. As she anxiously informs the judges that she would be performing ventriloquism, she hardly looks them in the eye. The audience applauds courteously, but there's a hint of skepticism in the air. A puppet show? On AGT? Could that truly be that impressive? With a raised eyebrow, Simon Cowell leans forward in his chair. To him, it appears to be a charming but forgettable kid's act. Darci appears even more diminutive on that enormous stage due to her quiet voice and apprehensive demeanor. Then she starts. The pink bunny puppet Petunia opens her furry mouth, tilts her head, and lets out a voice that shakes the auditorium. The entire mood changes in the first 10 seconds of George Gershwin's Summertime, which Darci opens with. The crowd lets out a gasp. The judges' mouths fall open. Simon, who seldom responds in the heat of the moment, sits motionless, his eyes wide. He is aware that he is witnessing something unique. Not only does Darci sing, but she also manipulates each note with perfect pitch. and delivers her voice through the puppet so smoothly that people don't even realize it's ventriloquism. With a smoky, deep voice that is far beyond Darci's 12 years, Petunia seems to be alive. The crowd is already up by the time she hits the chorus. With tears in their eyes, strangers are holding their faces in shock. The judges exchange shocked looks with one another. "This is unbelievable," Howie Mandel murmurs, and Heidi Klum shakes her head, unable to speak. Even Simon, who is notorious for brutally honest criticism of candidates, can't help but smile. The cheers are so loud when the song is over. Everyone in the theater stands up. As if she's still in shock over what transpired, Darci is holding Petunia. The judges start talking. Before Simon can finish criticizing her, Mel B leans forward and hovers her palm over the golden buzzer, telling her that what she just accomplished is incredible. She slaps it down after that. From the ceiling, golden confetti bursts forth. Darci starts crying. More than ever, the audience roars. Petunia hangs from Tyra Banks's arm as she runs onto the platform and embraces the sobbing 12-year-old. Mel B calls her amazing, amazing, amazing. She claims that Darci gave her a sense of fulfillment that she hadn't experienced in years. Simon too? For once, he can't speak. He doesn't even have to speak. Shock, adoration, and the unusual knowledge that he just watched one of the best auditions in AGT history are all evident in the expression on his face. Darci's audition clip goes viral online in less than a day. The tiny girl from Oklahoma exceeds all expectations, and tens of millions of people watch in wonder. "The girl who made a puppet sing and stole America's heart" was the headline. Darci Lynne becomes well known overnight. And that moment, when he fell back in shock, will go down in Simon's memory as one of the most pure and magnificent moments in AGT's history. Darci had a really amazing ride through season 12 of AGT. She altered her act every week rather than simply repeating it. The judges were blown away when she sang Jackson 5's "Who's Loving You" in the quarterfinals with Oscar the Mouse. Simon Cowell was left red-faced as the audience erupted in amusement as Edna, the feisty old lady puppet, performed one of the season's most memorable acts, shamelessly flirting with him while belting out Aretha Franklin's "Natural Woman." Darci was creating a phenomenon rather than merely garnering votes. AGT had never witnessed anything like her ability to blend ventriloquism, music, and comedy. Almost every evening, she received standing ovations. It was nearly obvious by the time the finals rolled around that Darci Lynne was more than just a competitor. The leader was her. She and Petunia and Oscar sang "With a Little Help from My Friends" in the finale. The audience erupted. Confetti again rained down when Tyra Banks revealed the winner, not only for a show, but for a legacy. Officially, Darci Lynne was the youngest winner of America's Got Talent. She had won America over at the age of 12. Simon Cowell, who had witnessed innumerable talents, saw something unique and pure in Darci. She was one of the most jaw-dropping talents AGT had ever found, he subsequently remarked. However, that crown comes with expectations, and children in particular may feel the weight of those expectations. Darci's adventure didn't finish when he won AGT. Rather, it marked the start of a whole new universe. Soon after, the offers came flooding in. Endorsement agreements, live performances, and television appearances. Ellen the Today Show, and even her own Christmas special, Darci Lynne, My Hometown Christmas, which was broadcast across the country, featured her. She sold out theaters and arenas on her U.S. tour. Fans waited in line for pictures and autographs wherever she went. She was now America's sweetheart, not just a young girl with a puppet. But there are two sides to fame. Darci was suddenly balancing academics, public engagements, and a professional job at the age of 13. After living with her siblings in Oklahoma, she started juggling her life on the road. Even Simon Cowell, who frequently hailed her in interviews as one of the most talented young performers in the world, was aware of the immense pressure that was placed on her. Beneath the sparkling lights, Darci was still a teenager who enjoyed playing volleyball and hanging out with friends. Being famous was thrilling, but it also meant giving up privacy, leisure time, and the opportunity to grow up out of the spotlight. Cracks also started to appear as the business pushed for more. Darci's ascent was quick, but fame also came with consequences. Some critics on the internet questioned if her achievement could be sustained. Some questioned if ventriloquism could actually support a long-term career. The most difficult thing for Darci was finding equilibrium. She had no fear on stage. She was still a teenager off stage, juggling pals, school dances, and tests. She occasionally felt worn out from the hectic schedule of performances and travel. Then the burden of anticipation arrived. Her viral audition was compared to every new performance. She had to demonstrate in each show that she wasn't a one-season sensation. The demands of touring, along with that strain, started to wear on them. In subsequent interviews, Darci acknowledged that she occasionally felt overburdened. She talked about times when she questioned whether she was still performing for herself or if the industry was influencing her. Of course, losing out on typical milestones was another consequence of being a kid star. Due to rehearsals or travels, she was unable to attend birthday parties, compete in sports, or even have casual sleepovers with friends. She once admitted that even while she enjoyed performing, there were moments when she wished she could just be a normal kid again. Many kid stars have heard this story before. The spotlight burns hot, but it shines brilliantly. Furthermore, the pressure of pursuing a job before reaching adulthood is tremendous, especially in the presence of encouraging parents and supporters. Darci made a comeback to the AGT stage in 2019 for America's Got Talent: The Champions, barely 2 years after her stunning victory. Expectations were extremely high, and fans were ecstatic to see her again. She showcased new songs and puppets in a stunning performance. However, she lost when the ballots were counted. The audience was shaken by the shock. How did one of the most recognizable AGT winners fail? It was a humbling event for Darci. She continued to be polite, thanking the audience and saying that she was grateful for the opportunity to play once again. However, the setback exposed a deeper truth. Even the most brilliant people don't guarantee fame. At 12, critics started to wonder if Darci had already peaked. Was a teenager treated too harshly by the industry? Had people changed their minds too soon? Simon Cowell, who is typically calm and stone-faced, started to consider Darci's path in unexpected ways throughout this time. Simon Cowell is a dry-eyed person, not in public anyhow. He is the judge who gained notoriety for being bluntly honest, albeit occasionally unpleasant. However, his tone shifted when he was questioned about Darci Lynne years later. Online videos showed Simon halting the interview when her name was mentioned. His tone grew softer, his eyes filled with tears. He said in a low voice, "I think we failed her." He also said, "We expected too much too soon. She was just a kid." Fans were incredulous. The infrequently vulnerable Simon Cowell was expressing regret. Many people praised him for finally recognizing the difficulties young stars undergo under the pressure of the industry after his remarks went viral. As a kid genius who performed magic but bore an unmanageable burden, Darci was a symbol of both sorrow and achievement for Simon. His infrequent tears brought to light a topic that is rarely discussed in the industry: the psychological toll of forcing kids into celebrity before they are ready. Simon was never publicly chastised by Darci herself. She has always been kind and frequently attributes her life's transformation to AGT. However, Simon's introspective analysis touched a nerve. It was more about acknowledging that every kid star is a human person who needs time to mature than it was about assigning blame. Darci concentrated on rebuilding as the industry conjectured about her difficulties. She focused on her personal development rather than pursuing ongoing celebrity. Her definition of success gradually changed when she returned to high school, played volleyball, and spent time with her family. She continued to perform, but on her own terms. Exclusive appearances, music releases, and online content production. She started posting performances on YouTube, giving fans a behind-the-scenes look at her life and interacting with them in a genuine way. Darci has stated in interviews that she gained clarity after removing herself from the pandemonium. She found that she loved music more than puppetry. She started penning songs, experimenting with different genres, and getting ready to enter the music business as more than simply the puppet girl. Her admirers stood by her side the entire time. They admired her honesty, relatability, and readiness to develop in public in addition to her brilliance. By 2024, Darci had grown into a young lady who was committed to taking back her job, and she was in charge this time, unlike the other time. What is the current location of Darci Lynne? At the age of 20, Darci resides near her family in Oklahoma. She is creating a genuine and long-lasting profession by striking a balance between independence and creativity. She continues to do live performances, but at a speed that suits her. She is combining her distinctive performance style with her powerful vocals to create fresh songs. She still has millions of followers on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, demonstrating the strength of her social media presence. Darci, in contrast to many celebrities, uses social media to connect rather than to promote herself. Whether she's sharing practice videos, talking about mental health, or making jokes with her puppets, fans say her content is sincere and refreshing. Industry veterans gave her standing ovations when she appeared at a gala event at Carnegie Hall in 2024. Her development and maturity were commended by critics, who referred to her as a performer who continues to evolve. Darci has stayed grounded during it all. She attributes her ability to stay grounded and remember her roots to her family. She is establishing a career on her own terms and is not seeking stardom at any cost. According to her admirers, her forthcoming first album will be her most audacious declaration to date. She has alluded that it will have both conventional ballads and more edgy rock-influenced songs, showcasing new facets of her vocals. And that's the idea for Darci, who wants to be recognized as a real artist rather than merely a ventriloquist act. What about Simon Cowell? His infrequent emotional admission is still reverberating among fan bases. There is no doubting his admiration for Darci, regardless of whether he genuinely feels the industry let her down. She remains one of the most magical discoveries AGT has ever made, according to him. There is more to Darci's story than just ups and downs. The story of a shy Oklahoma girl who stole America's heart, faltered under the pressure of celebrity, then recovered stronger than ever, serves as a reminder of tenacity. Simon Cowell referred to Darci Lynne as one of the most amazing talents he had ever witnessed back in 2017, not because she vanished, but because she demonstrated something even more significant. He remembers her now with tears in his eyes. Darci is more than simply a kid star who vanished from view. As an artist, she battled to take back her life, her voice, and her future. How do you feel about Simon's tearful admission regarding Darci Lynne? Was she under too much pressure from the industry at an early age? Tell us in the comments section below. For more articles like this one, remember to like, share, and subscribe.